Guys, Dan with Domo here, and I want to talk to you about casting objects. This can save you a ton of steps in your workflow, and I want to show you how to do that today. You can see here what I've done is I've deployed the template for loop over dataset. That's the template that I've got deployed here. All I've done thus far is deleted the input parameter and set it to a timer start. And then modified this query dataset function to include a SQL query. So you can see here, I'm querying Domo datasets with owners dataset. And my query here is calling for the ID and the owner name from data where the last run date is less than 3 months ago. So what I'm trying to do is identify old datasets that haven't ran in more than 3 months and get them tagged so that we know that it's legacy data. This function returns a list of objects. Let's go ahead and test it. So if we look here, let me grab our query. Okay, let's test this. We can see that this comes back and it includes a list of objects, and each object has an ID and an owner name. Right, so this dataset ID is owned by Amos Oakes. Perfect. Now, what this workflow does is it evaluates if there were any rows that came back as a result of this query, and assuming there are, it grabs the very first one and stores it as an open object called current row. Well, what I want to do here is I want to tag the dataset. So I grab the create dataset tag function. We'll put my tag in here. We'll just call this old data. But what I want to do is I want to pass the dataset ID that I know exists in my get current row object, right? We know this object has got an ID and an owner. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here to my variable list. I'm going to click the pencil, and I'm going to add a couple of children. I'm going to say, hey, we have an ID that is a dataset. We have an owner name that is text. I'm going to hit update. It's going to give me a message about my mappings. And you can see that it moved from an open object or a white object to a defined object. It's black. If I expand this, you can see that we've got current row.id and current row.owner. Now what's really neat is those are available without any additional functions or steps to be called by additional functions down the line. So this particular data set that I want to tag, I know it's in the current row object and its ID. So by simply defining those children, I'm able to now call on those items that exist inside of that object to be used in subsequent functions. It's a big unlock, especially as we're querying data sets. We know what columns come back. We may want to use those in a string builder or just an input parameter on a function. Quickly defining that object will save you a bunch of steps in your workflow. Thanks for watching. Hope it was helpful.